This was one of the main reasons Trump was put in office. We elected him. God honored that. This is why. People don't want this. People don't want this.
Ms. Cole, you're next, and you can begin.
Good morning. My name is Chloe Cole, and I am a detransitioner. Another way to put that would be, I used to believe that I was born in the wrong body, and the adults in my life whom I trusted affirmed my belief, and this caused me lifelong, irreversible harm. I speak to you today as a victim of one of the biggest medical scandals in the history of the United States of America. I speak to you in the hope that you will have the courage to bring the scandal to an end and ensure that other vulnerable teenagers, children, and young adults don't go through what I went through. At the age of 12, I began to experience what my medical team would later diagnose as gender dysphoria. I was well into an early puberty, and I was very uncomfortable with the changes that were happening to my body. I was intimidated by male attention, and when I told my parents that I felt like a boy, in retrospect, all I meant was that I hated puberty, that I wanted this newfound sexual attention to go away, that I looked up to my brothers a little bit more than I did to my sisters.
Right. That does not mean, okay, let's have an operation and start giving me pills so I can become a different sex. No. And I'm so glad that she is saying this. I'm so glad that she is saying this. This is really, really sad. And I'm going to dive a little bit more in as we move. But yes, this is sad. This is really sad.
I came out as transgender in a letter I sent on the dining room table. My parents were immediately concerned. They felt like they needed to get outside help from medical professionals, but this proved to be a mistake. It immediately set our entire family down a path of ideologically motivated deceit and coercion. The gender specialist I was taken to see told my parents that I needed to be put on puberty blocking drugs right away. They asked my parents a simple question: would you rather have a dead daughter or a living transgender son? The choice was enough for my parents to let their guard down, and in retrospect, I can't blame them. This was the moment that we all became victims of so-called gender-affirming care. I was fast-tracked onto puberty blockers and then testosterone. The resulting menopausal-like hot flashes made focusing on school impossible. I still get joint pains and weird pops in my back, but they were far worse when I was on the blockers. A month later, when I was 13, I had my first testosterone injection. It's caused permanent changes to my body. My voice will forever be deeper, my jawline sharper, my nose longer, my bone structure permanently masculinized, my Adam's apple more prominent, my fertility unknown. I look in the mirror sometimes and I feel like a monster.
That's sad.
I had a double mastectomy at 15.
Oh my God.
They tested my amputated breast for cancer. And I was cancer-free, of course. I was perfectly healthy. There was nothing wrong with my still developing body or my breasts, other than that, as an insecure teenage girl, I felt awkward about it. After surgery, my grades in school plummeted. Everything that I went through did nothing to address my underlying mental health issues that I had. And my doctors, with their theories on gender, thought that all my problems would go away as soon as I was surgically transformed into something that vaguely resembled a boy. Their theories were wrong. The drugs and surgeries changed my body, but they did not and could not change the basic reality that I am and forever will be a female. When my specialist first told my parents that they could have a dead daughter or a live transgender son, I wasn't suicidal. I was a happy child who struggled because she was different. However, at 16, after my surgery, I did become suicidal. I'm doing better now. But my parents almost got the dead daughter promised to them by my doctors. My doctors had almost created the very nightmare they said they were trying to avoid. So what message do I want to bring to American teenagers and their families? I didn't need to be lied to. I needed compassion.
That's right.
I needed to be loved. I needed to be given therapy to help me work through my issues, not affirm to my delusion that by transforming into a boy, it would solve all my problems.
Exactly.
We need to stop telling 12-year-olds that they were born wrong.
That's right.
That they are right to reject their own bodies and feel uncomfortable with their own skin. We need to stop telling children that puberty is an option, that they can choose what kind of puberty they will go through, just so they can choose what clothes to wear or what music to listen to. Puberty is a rite of passage to adulthood, not a disease to be mitigated. Today, I should be at home with my family celebrating my 19th birthday, and instead I'm making a desperate plea to my elected representatives. Learn the lessons from other medical scandals like the opioid crisis, to recognize that doctors are human too, and sometimes they are wrong.
Yes.
My childhood was ruined along with thousands of detransitioners that I know through our networks. This needs to stop. You alone can stop it. Enough children have already been victimized by this barbaric pseudoscience.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next clip, but I want to have a brief discussion about this in the interim. I mean, and that's my thing. This is where how I truly and honestly feel. If that is the choice of a grown adult person that has a mature, developed brain, that had life experiences, and they have decided that they want to change their sex, the sex that God is giving them, by Almighty, go right ahead. That's your choice. But when you want to force this upon a child and make them think it's one way when it really isn't, because kids are being kids, then that is the problem. And then having to remove and having the parent pulled out of the equation is the most absolute unheard of, absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. The parent that has birthed the child, parents that have raised them, if they haven't birthed them and may have adopted them, regardless, guardian, whatever the situation is, how do you remove those caregivers who are pouring the love and trying to work and help the kid out? How do you remove them and put them with total strangers who don't really give a rat's kind of pick and tail? Obviously. This is absolutely unheard of. This is what the people voted for. They didn't vote. They not voting for this. They voted for Trump because he ain't with this tomfoolery. And I feel like the age for them to start getting the therapy really should be as an adult, even for the gender change. It shouldn't be a child. I still think it's too young. Kids need to be kids. And like she said, get the therapy and the help from the right people. Maybe the parents have to go through a couple of therapists. Or, try at your church. But if your church is going against what the words say about a man and a woman, then boo, you need to revamp that thing. You need to rethink that. Sorry. Because that is true confusion, like she said. Okay, so let's go on to the next clip. You have another young lady who is telling how she feels. And I think this clip might be a year old, but it still stands today. It was like yesterday. It's like today, like she's talking today. This is how women, biological women, girls are feeling. Come on, let's go.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and only ladies and gentlemen it is and shall always be. I am an 18-year-old high school student and wanted to take this time to bring to your attention the current issue with biological men claiming they are women and in turn truly believing that they are entitled to use women's spaces. There was an incident within our district that occurred recently regarding a transgender woman who really is a biological man having an altercation with a young woman at MLK High School. It was infuriating when I had seen the video on social media, but what was detrimental to this is the fact that this man is and has been using the women's restroom and locker room. Firstly, the question we must address is why are we affirming the mental confusion of this boy and putting the safety of women in jeopardy by allowing mentally confused men to use the women's spaces?
Come on.
Of course, any male who claims he is a woman will accept it.
18
But what about
years
the
old.
women? What about the true girls like myself who are female down to our DNA? Why don't we ever get a say in whether or not we are comfortable with this? The truth is, we aren't. The majority of us aren't, and yet nothing has been done to protect the safety of these women. I will conclude with this. It all starts with you. You are in charge of the safety of us women and the kids of our parents. So please do something about it. Thank you.
Okay, there you go. You have heard it from a teenager. And there's many teenagers that have voiced their opinions. Women and even boys have come up and to say how they feel about other boys being in the girls' locker room. Now, we're not even going to get on the sports thing here. Check this out, y'all.
This father perfectly demonstrated why parents shouldn't let their kids go to public bathrooms alone.
When we go in there? Let me make sure nobody in here. Hello? See? There go man.
A grown man.
There goes.
And he don't even look like no lady. How about that?
You know, this the
Why you in
women's
there?
bathroom, right? Sorry. That's the women's bathroom. A man in the women's bathroom. That's why you gotta go in here with your kids. Let me make sure nobody else ain't in here. Let me make sure. So you gotta go in there with your kids. Make sure no man in the women's bathroom.
Wow. What do you say to that? What do you say to that? The man just in there, la, 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 waiting for a woman to come up in there. And, ooh. I mean, come on. He didn't look like a transgender at all. He was a full, able-bodied, biological male that looked like and walked like and talked like a biological male. So why are you in the bathroom? That's the problem. That's the issue. Where in the Sam Hill is it okay? And y'all know where I get that Sam Hill from. Grandmama, friend from high school. We grew up together saying Sam Hill. I mean, come on, Uncle, say Sam Hill. That's instead of saying some profane words. Because this type of tomfoolery will make you want to really straight cuss out somebody. Because it's so twisted, but yet that's what so many people were supporting when they were trying to vote for her. To say, vote for Kamala. Let me just keep it real. To say that it's okay. Oh, no, it's okay. No, it's not okay. And here's why it's not okay. Volume up. Let's go.
Here's my plan to stop the chemical, physical, and emotional mutilation of our youth. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous.
Yes.
A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this? I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. I will then ask Congress to permanently stop federal taxpayer dollars from being used to promote or pay for these procedures and pass a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. It'll go very quickly. I will declare that any hospital or healthcare provider that participates in the chemical or physical mutilation of minor youth will no longer meet federal health and safety standards for Medicaid and Medicare and will be terminated from the program immediately. Furthermore, I will support the creation of a private right of action for victims to sue doctors who have unforgivably performed these procedures on minor children. The Department of Justice will investigate Big Pharma and the big hospital networks to determine whether they have deliberately covered up horrific long-term side effects of sex transitions in order to get rich at the expense of vulnerable patients, in this case, very vulnerable. We will also investigate whether Big Pharma or others have illegally marketed hormones and puberty blockers which are in no way licensed or approved for this use. My Department of Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences, including potential civil rights violations for sex discrimination and the elimination of federal funding. As part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family,
Let's go.
the roles of mothers and fathers.
That's right.
And celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and
That's
unique.
right. Hello.
I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth.
Let's
The
go.
bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports, and we will protect the rights of parents from being forced to allow their minor child to assume a gender which is new and an identity without the parents' consent. The identity will not be new, and it will not be without parental consent. No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender.
That's right.
A concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today.
Right.
It was all when the radical left invented it just a few years ago.
Insane.
Under my leadership, this madness will end. Thank you very much.
There you go. And that is exactly why the people have spoken. Exactly why the people have spoken. The people have spoken. God has co-signed. They don't want this. They don't want this. And if, like he said, if that's something that you want, the parent and the kid can agree knowingly. I think the age needs to be bumped up. I really do. I think the person needs to be 21, really 25. Research still says that even at a 25-year-old brain, it still ain't fully developed. They kind of want to bump it up to the early 30s. But we know legally, when a person turns 17, 18 in some states, 17, you can purchase, is it cigarettes? There are certain places where you can purchase cigarettes or drop out of high school at a certain age without going to jail. And then you can purchase alcohol at 21, and then I think cigarettes at 18. 17, you can drop out of high school. But nevertheless, is that brain fully matured? No. You need to really get the therapy and the counseling and the true understanding and the facts from people who have done it and that, okay, may be all right with it. And then you need to talk to people who have done it and said, no, this is not something they wish they had. If they had more information and true understanding, they would not have done this because they know that that's not right. God don't make no mistakes. And that's what you need to understand. God does not make mistakes. You were designed and created for something specific in your body as your biological gender. You can't be no cat. You can't be no dog. You can't be no mouse. You can't be no rabbit. And quit telling them kids, letting them do that. I learned that at school, they are acknowledging children if you want to be a cat. They can pee and do all that crap on the floor because they want to be an animal. Ain't no way. No, thank you. No, ma'am. So that's going to be okay for them to do that on the job. They're going to be able to act like they're a cat if they got to go when they go and try to work for somebody else. They can be a dog when they go and work for somebody else. Come on, setting them up for failure. Please. Once again, the people have spoken. The people have spoken. This is one of the most prevailing things that people voted for him for. And he said he ain't even in office yet. He laying out whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop-de-woo what he's about to do. He ain't even in office yet. But you know what? He's been showing up the whole doggone time. When they been asleep, he been showing up the whole time. When when there was no inclination that she was even going to be stepping in for him, he was still there and still fighting all the tomfoolery. We ain't going down that road. But what I'm saying is, this is one of the main reasons why the map of the U.S. was almost all red. You better reckon this. Okay, great people, let's get in this comment section. What do you think? Are you one of the ones that supported the redness, or are you still on the blue side? And you could be. Ain't no judging here. However, clearly, even if you are, this wouldn't be something that you would support, would it? But let's get in the comment section and have a mature discussion about it. All right, great people. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more videos like this, go to my Teen and Controversy tab here. I have several other videos, as well as things that's going on across the U.S. Check it out.